Hi everyone, Happy New Year. Welcome back. Welcome if this is your first time here. I'm Books with B and I'm finally getting around to recording my top books of 2023. I read 155 books last year. I'm still coming to terms with it. It's amazing, but like, wow, I'm still like in shock and awe. There were so many favorites that I had that I actually had to break this into 2 videos so it wouldn't be too long. So this will be the fiction, and then I will also record nonfiction for my top picks of the year. These are in no particular order of how much I love the books. I'm just gonna go chronologically because that's just how I happen to make my list. So my first 5-star read of 2023 was Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. This was the first book that I read physically, and I'm so glad that I did. You guys, I love this book so much. 2 dads that couldn't be more opposite come together to get justice and to find out what really happened to their sons that were murdered. And just going through this journey with them to find out what happened, why, and who did it. And to get the law to pursue this case and perhaps take things into their own hands. And if you're looking to get out of a reading slump or to get back into physically reading, I suggest the physical book because it moves so fast. Like, total page turner, can't put it down. Reads so fast. Excellent, excellent book. A book that has been all over top list of 2023, Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. This was seriously phenomenal. Anyone will tell you the born of this world are marked from the get out, win or lose. Set in the mountains of southern Appalachia, this is the story of a boy born to a teenage mother in a single white trailer with no assets beyond his dead father's good looks and copper-colored hair, a caustic wit, and a fierce talent for survival. This coming-of-age story and the things that this kid goes through, like his struggles with family, the area that he lives in, and everything else that life could throw to somebody that's already like set at a disadvantage from birth. Like, he literally goes through. And the way that it's written and the character development, the bond that we feel for this young man and his struggles, you guys, like, this is another one that has been with me the entire year. And normally when I love a book, I want to see it translated to film or the small screen. I'm scared. Please leave this alone. This book is perfection. I don't even have the words to eloquently convey to you the depths of the emotional, physical, everything kind of roller coasters that are within this book. It's on everyone's top list for a reason. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend this one. Amazing. If you're new, let me tell you, YA and romance are not my things. So I was completely shocked when I read and fell in love with Fighting Jupiter by Khalees Rowe. You guys, so good. Coming of age story, star-crossed lovers. Sparks fly when Orion and Ray meet for the first time at a roller rink in Memphis, but these star-crossed souls have a past filled with secrets that threaten to tear them apart before their love story even begins. Found poetry, grief, and fate collide in this powerful debut. When I tell you, my heart and my head were in so many places throughout the entire unfolding of the story. These characters have stuck with me the entire year. I always go back to them and think about them. I'm not a rereader, but this is a book that I seriously might consume again. Oh, like, all the feels, so good. There's a couple of twists and turns. Just, oh, the romantic feel good, but as soon as you're in a great place and your heart's happy and warm and oozing with honey, then boom, reality and life hits, like real life does. Highly recommend this one. Very good. This year, I dabbled into romance a little bit for a palate cleanser. It wasn't bad, you guys. It wasn't bad. Discovered a few little jewels, a few of them on this list. Part of Your World, Book 1 by Abby Jimenez. Did not want it to end. Absolutely loved it. It was exactly what I needed to palate cleanse from a lot of the heavy nonfiction that I was reading and not enjoying. So basically, super successful ER doctor meets small town guy, super handsome. You know how it goes, like nothing like new or groundbreaking with the tropes, but the way everything unfolds, absolutely wonderful. There's representation for mental health, all sorts of things. It runs the gamut of touching on so many different like life issues and the values that we place on things that aren't important, the money, the success, and all of that, and the cost that we pay to pursue those things, when in actuality, happiness and true love are found on a way simpler level, if that makes sense. I know it sounds hokey, but it's so good. Another one that's on a lot of people's favorites list, and it's so good. BookTube is good as well. I definitely recommend it. Done so well. So well. When I finished it, I literally like clapped, grasped my heart, like didn't want it to end. I liked it. I'll definitely be reading more by this author. Age of Ice by Deepti Kapoor. This is the age of ice, where money, pleasure, and power are everything, and family ties that bind also can kill. New Delhi, 3 a.m. A speeding Mercedes jumps the curb, and in the blink of an eye, 5 people are dead. It's a rich man's car, but when the dust settles, there's no rich man at all. Just a cell-shocked servant who cannot explain the strange series of events that led to this crime. This was fantastic. Fantastic. Said servant, that's the only one at the scene and can explain how the timeline has unfolded to have gotten to this point. How we get there, it's beyond coming of age, a tale of vengeance, revenge. I know this one, like, people love it and people hate it. Like, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. This would make an absolutely great film. I don't know who's worthy of doing it, but telling the story of this young man, his beyond humble beginnings, and his journey to working for and living with his family, and how everything transpires to him becoming the top head of the household, as far as being the son's right-hand man for absolutely everything. He's so badass, you guys. The journey, like, literally on the edge of your seat, what's gonna happen next, rooting for a homie even though he's a slightly like morally gray character. It's so good. It's so good. And the way the whole ending of the book unfolds, just like the journey of it, like just well thought out, well done. The writing's great, the pace, the world building, seriously on point. Like, wanted to read this one from the beginning of the year, and when I finally got around to it, it did not disappoint at all. Like, another one that I'm still thinking about. Do yourself the favor. Like, I really, really enjoyed it. Loved it. Loved it, like, hyped. Like, I can feel my blood pressure, like, has gone up. Just getting exciting talking about this one. I really, really loved it. Another book that is seriously divisive. Like, people love or hate this one too. The reviews are so mixed. The Bandit Queens by Parini Shroff. This was so fun. I took a chance on it before there was like a lot of talk and hype about it, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was, I don't want to say adorable because there's like some heavy topics ahead, but Gita's no good husband disappeared 5 years ago. She didn't kill him, but everyone thinks she did, no matter how much she protests. But she soon discovers that being known as a self-made widow has some surprising perks. No one messes with her, no one threatens her, and no one tries to control, marry her. Woman power is not enough of a statement. This was such a fun journey. Just rooting for the underdog. A woman, like, in a culture where, well, like most cultures, where men are in control and handle everything, and the woman doesn't have that much of a say-so. So this woman's husband disappears. Like, thank goodness, like, she can breathe, you know, like, can actually live life, go about her day without having a foot on her neck. And so talk and gossip slowly spreads around like the community that everyone thinks that she offed him. Time goes by, everybody else that's feeling the same struggle that she felt, it's like, well, maybe she can kill mine too. and just going through the journey of these women's lives and the main character and just seeing her personal growth into coming of her own and her strength. It's really fun, and of course there's a little twisty twist towards the end. What really happens, what goes on. It was fun. I really enjoyed this journey. Really good. I believe this one's a debut novel. Like, I thought it was well executed. Really liked it. Next, a series, books 1 and 2, that everybody was talking about. Everybody, and I fought it for so long. For so long. Not really my cup of tea, not my thing, but the Magnolia Parks universe by Jessa Hastings. Books 1, Magnolia Parks. Book 2, Daisy Hates. And these are long, but I use them both as palette cleansers to like break up the monotony of everything else that I was reading goals, just to keep my momentum moving and keep it refreshed. I was trying new things, you guys, and I was stepping out of my comfort zone a little bit, dabbling here and there with the genres. And this was so fun. I kind of compare it to, I like watching like thrillers and documentary, things with conspiracy theories, you know, like heavy stuff, bro. And sometimes you need like a few episodes of Housewives, and this was that for me as far as reading. I love these via audio because just like the accents and having them actually narrated by British people, because it takes place across the pond. Messy, bitchy, catty, but there's luxury and lust and love, and it's ridiculous, but it's not. And it was so fun to follow these shitty people. Give you a little blurb about these two. Okay, so Magnolia Parks. She's a beautiful, affluent, self-involved, and mildly neurotic London socialite. He's Britain's most photographed bad boy Lothario who broke her heart. But Magnolia Parks and BJ Valentine are meant to be, and everyone knows it. They're in the stars, just suspended in a strange kind of love that looks like hurting each other a lot of the time. Accurate. Daisy Hates. All 20-year-old Daisy Hates has ever wanted is a normal life, but it's just not in the cards for her. Raised by her older brother Julian since their parents were murdered in front of them 12 years ago, Daisy hasn't ever lived beyond the watchful gaze of her gang lord brother. But Julian's line of work means that Daisy's life is complicated, and things don't become any less complex when she falls hard for Christian hymns, the beautiful and emotionally unavailable boy she's been involved with for the last few months, who also happens to be one of the few men in London that doesn't answer to Julian. Christian's life's no walk in the park either, being in love with his best friend's girlfriend and all. Guess who that is? He's happy enough to use Daisy to throw off the scent of his true affections. That is until she starts to infiltrate those two. So Magnolia is the main character, the beautiful celebutante, like just filthy rich, and her little star-crossed lover that they've like had a crush and been involved since they were like small kids in school, and just those couples that like can't get it together but can't be apart and constantly like hurt each other and get back together and all of that. It was so fun. Of course, I went on to book 2, even though Magnolia kind of like works my nerves and the stressful, messy relationship, it was still very entertaining and kept me listening, avidly listening. Like, I literally devoured these so fast, I can't even tell you. But I did enjoy book 2, Daisy Hates, way more. I don't know if it's just the more mellow nature of Daisy's character. They're all kind of snotty, but she's not as snotty and bratty as Magnolia. But I loved it. If you just want like some juicy, messy romance fun, I'm absolutely here for it. So I've read book 3. I need to like go into book 4 because I think book 5 comes out next month. But definitely recommend these for a fun, messy, like opulent, good time. And the universe is tied because they're all within the same friend group. So you can imagine how things unfold. There's twists though, you guys. So many twists. Black River Orchard by Chuck Wendig. A small town's transformed by dark magic when a strange tree begins bearing magical apples. It's autumn in the town of Harrow, but something else is changing in the town besides the season. Because in that town, there's an orchard, and in that orchard, 7 most unusual trees, and from those trees grows a new sort of apple. strange, beautiful, with skin so red it's nearly black. Take a bite of one of these apples and you desire to only devour another and another. You'll become stronger, more vital, more yourself. You will believe. But then your appetite for the apples and the peculiar gifts will keep growing and become darker. When I tell you that all year long, this was the horror book that I was waiting for, this was it. Amazing. And it's a long one. This one is 640 pages. But if you were a fan of Stephen King's older work and how amazing the level of writing and storytelling were in his older novels, this is that in now times, modern times, or whatever, current. I was so happy. I did a little happy dance when I finished this one. Dark, mysterious, great plot, creepy, a little gore, just fantastic unfolding of like the characters and their plight and what the apples do to change the community in this town. It's so perfect. Perfect horror. Seriously, like the best. This also, if I had to do top 5, would have been at the top of that list for like my top 5 reads of the year. If you're a horror fan, please don't overlook this book. Friggin' fantastic. So good, so creepy. And I consume a lot of horror and I'm not impressed like a good like 80% of the time. But this one, this did it. All right, we've made it to the last book, The Shape of Water by, what is it, Guillermo del Toro and Daniel Kraus. I've been wanting to read this for years. 4 years. This, if you guys remember, this movie won like Academy Award. That year, I predicted before even seeing the film that it was gonna win for Best Picture, and it literally like swept the awards that year. So good, loved it so much, and all this time I've still wanted to read the book. Finally, towards the end of this year, I got around to listening to the audio. Superb, so good. Chef's kiss. There's a mute woman that works at an aerospace center. She's a janitor. She's kind of overlooked, tries to stay under the radar, makes a discovery of one of the things, creatures being kept for research that they're doing experiments on. Yada, 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 love ensues. The audio was so well done, so endearing. The narrators were fantastic. I love the story. Rooting for her, rooting for him. And it sounds crazy. I feel crazy talking about a woman that fell in love with like a sea creature, but I absolutely loved it. If you want to take a chance on like a fantasy book, I highly recommend the audio. So perfect. There was a lot of representation too, like disability, racism, like a lot of topics were touched on, but it's really good. And the way it comes together, you don't want it to end and you want more, but what more could there be? Just well done. I need to own this one and the movie. Definitely recommend it. A little blurb in case you haven't seen the movie or haven't heard of it. Eliza Esposito, mute her whole life, orphaned as a child, is struggling with her humdrum existence as a janitor working the graveyard shift at Baltimore's Occam Aerospace Research Center, where if not for Zelda, her protective co-worker, and Giles, her loving neighbor, she doesn't know how she'd make it through the day. One fateful night, she sees something she was never meant to see, the center's most sensitive asset ever, an amphibious man captured in the Amazon to be studied for Cold War advancement. The creature's terrifying, but also magnificent, capable of language and understanding emotions, and Eliza can't keep away. Using sign language, the two learn to communicate. Soon affection turns to love, and the creature becomes Eliza's sole reason to live. But outside forces are pressing in. What ensues, but it's wonderfully told. I highly recommend it. Also, highly recommend the movie. Love them both. That's it for my top 10 fiction reads of 2023. Have you guys read any of these? Did you love them? Did you hate them? Let me know. Thanks so much for watching. I have all the feel goods right now revisiting these stories. Yay. Okay, on to nonfiction. I'll see you guys in the next video.